Hello everyone once again and good evening. I'm Shreya Dhoundial. It is sometimes very difficult to believe that Peter Navarro, the tariff hawk better known as Trump's bulldog, has a PhD from Harvard. The economics professor, who has built his entire career around confrontational rhetoric, was to begin with a China hater. Now Navarro's nautanki around India has become a never-ending rant. So today, as the Prime Minister concluded his SCO visit to China with a 50-minute car ride with President Putin, followed by a 50-minute bilateral, Peter Navarro totally lost it and went on a casteist rant. He said, and I quote, "Modi is a great leader. I don't understand why he's getting into bed with Putin and Xi when he's the biggest democracy in the world." Navarro goes on to say, and this is the controversial part, "I would simply say to the Indian people, please understand what is going on here. You got Brahmins profiteering at the expense of Indians. We need to stop that." Now, ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk has famously called Navarro dumber than a sack of bricks. Someone who has foolish economic views and should not be put in charge of anything. But well, the Americans have elected Donald Trump, and if he wants Navarro to be his top trade advisor, then who are we to say anything? So he takes the Russian oil rant into casteist territory. It says something about him, not about us. But what is totally befuddling, ladies and gentlemen, is what any political party in India and why any political party in India would give cover fire to a man who has been berating and trying to bully India for a while now. The TMC, the Trinamool Congress, did itself absolutely no favors as two of its MPs gave Navarro instant cover fire. Both Sagarika Ghose and Saket Gokhale justified the rant by saying that Americans use the term Boston Brahmins to refer to elite old money families who have economic and political influence. They said people outraging about the Brahmin comment are illiterate. Okay, so they may be illiterate, but Navarro is not. He's an economic professor. He does not mention Boston anywhere in his tweet. He just says Brahmins. In fact, it's a quote as well. He, as an economics professor, should know that India's PSUs, like Indian Oil Corporation Limited or Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, are the ones that benefit from Russian oil. They are the ones who profit here. So do the Ambanis and so do the Ruiyas. And none of them is a Brahmin. Question is, was he trying to incite trouble in India? What Navarro says or doesn't say, ladies and gentlemen, is immaterial. We don't have to take him seriously. Point is, why jump in to justify and support a man who is clearly trying to provoke India? The TMC's own allies, like the Congress and the UBT, have asked them to spare all of us the English lessons.
उससे सहमत नहीं हूं, लेकिन एक बात सच है कि 100% जो कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस है अपर कास्ट के हाथ में ही है। अपर कास्ट रसिया से तेल खरीद करके रिफाइन करके ऊंचे दाम पर बेच रहे हैं, वो जनता को इसका लाभ नहीं मिल रहा, ये भी सच्चाई है।
However, the opposition is coming down on Prime Minister Modi like a ton of bricks over his SCO meet, hug and handshake with Xi Jinping. The joint declaration between the two countries spoke of partnership, not rivalry. The opposition wants to know if the Prime Minister has forgotten China's deceit, the 5-year-long standoff in eastern Ladakh, and the sacrifice of 20 Indian soldiers in Galwan. Jairam Ramesh of the Congress has said that the elephant has bowed down to the dragon, as the Prime Minister didn't even question or call out China on Beijing, given live intelligence inputs to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. Rahul Gandhi, of course, went off on a completely different rant and tangent. As his Voter Adhikar Yatra was coming to an end today, he somehow, from Patna, heard what people in China were saying. And according to him, people in China and Tianjin were talking about vote chori there. Listen in.
वोट चोट। क्या प्रधानमंत्री जी वोट चोट क्या कर रहे हैं? क्या कर रहे हैं? वोट चोरी कर रहे हैं। एक नया नारा चला है बिहार में, वोट चोर गद्दी छोड़। इसको प्ले कीजिए आप, लोगों को बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। वहां भी बोल रहे हैं लोग, चाइना में भी लोग बोल रहे हैं वोट चोर गद्दी छोड़, अमेरिका में भी बोल रहे हैं।
No Prime Minister would resort to this shamelessness. Until few weeks ago, months ago, China and Pakistan were fighting us together in Operation Sindoor. And now China has become a victim of terror for this Prime Minister. Shameless.
चाइना ने जिस तरह से भारतवर्ष की जमीनों पर कब्जा किया, जो अब मैं बार बार देख रहा हूं कि जो ये है पाकिस्तान को सपोर्ट किया, इसमें सिंदूर ऑपरेशन में उन्होंने सपोर्ट किया। वो लोग जो पाकिस्तान को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, खुलेआम उनको हथियार दे रहे हैं, उनके साथ हम जाके बात कर रहे हैं, इसका मतलब क्या है? मुझे अच्छी तरह याद है कि श्री मुलायम सिंह यादव जी ने हमेशा कहते थे कि हमें पाकिस्तान से इतना ज्यादा खतरा नहीं है जितना हमें चाइना से खतरा है।
President Trump is saying Indian economy is dying. President Trump is saying we will teach them a lesson. Whom? The India. I have forced them to come onto the table for negotiation with Pakistan for ceasefire. He is claiming. And what was our answer? A big deafening silence from Modi.
My guest this evening, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, is national spokesperson of the BJP, joining us on the broadcast. Namaskar Agarwal ji. Pratik Ippain, geopolitical analyst, with us on the broadcast as well. Brijesh Kalappa, spokesperson of the Congress party, and Shubhankar Bhattacharya is a political analyst, joining us on the broadcast. Will be speaking on behalf of the TMC, but I'm sure he is going to say he is not speaking on behalf of the TMC, he is speaking on his own behalf. Shubhankar Bhattacharya, on whoever's behalf you're speaking on today, can I ask you, where was the rush for TMC leaders to justify what Peter Navarro is saying? We all understand what Boston Brahmins means. We all understand it. But where is the need to rush in and provide cover fire to a man who has been berating India almost every day? You need to pick a side, right?
Actually, that is not the question. I still guess the question is that how come, what has given the U.S. secretary or the secretariat to hit India so hard, and that too with with calling us the Brahmins. I'm also coming from a Brahmin family. So now, see, that is the condition that we have created over there. That is the failure
my question is simple. I need you to answer my question.
That is what we have created.
Shubhankarji, I need you to answer my question. My question was straight.
See, I am answering. I'm answering you only, but you need to have patience and listen to it first. That what has given them so much of strength, so much of freedom to talk anything about India? That is a diplomatic failure. There you have shown that they are calling us the Brahmins, the profiteering people. We profited out of the common Indian people out of here. No. This is the kind of show, this is the kind of exhibition that we have given in front of the US. And that is why they have got so much of audacity to come up with
whatever their audacity.
So hard against the...
Shubhankarji, we can question their audacity all very well. Navarro is a loose cannon. He can say what he wants to. I want to ask you why the TMC is becoming a loose cannon and rushing in to justify what he has said by saying, oh no, he meant the Boston Brahmins. Boston Brahmins are actually the elite, etc. And the people he was referring to are the big businessmen who deal in oil, who are actually profiteering. My point is, why step in and justify what an India hater is saying? My question is very simple.
I'm answering that only.
You haven't answered it. You have told me twice you are answering my question, but I don't understand your logic, sir.
But the major question is, what gives a foreign secretariat so much of power, so much of audacity to come against,
what gives the TMC the audacity to defend him?
Where you know, the Narendra Modi used to
Shubhankar
fly.
ji, what gives the TMC the audacity to defend him and provide cover fire to him and say, oh, no, 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 that is not what he meant.
Today,
We know what he meant. We are not foolish.
See.
He is foolish, in fact. He was called, Elon Musk once famously said that Navarro's intelligence is equal to that of a sack of bricks. So his intelligence is under question. My point is the TMC's intelligence is not under question. Why did the TMC have to go and defend him? That is the simple question. You're still not answering it.
See, now try to understand. Why do we need to, scrutinize something about the Navarro? Who is Navarro to us?
फिर आप ही के तो लोग उसे डिफेंड कर रहे हैं आप शाम को आके मुझे बोल रहे हैं मुझ नवारो
we are more concerned about where exactly the diplomatic condition has today.
Shubhanshu was saying what is giving power to Peter Navarro to say such nasty things. It is the TMC, people like TMC and Rahul Gandhi and opposition leaders who echo their voices which are not conducive to India's interest. They echo them, they leverage them, provide the space in the country, and at times go to such an extent that they themselves say such words which are quoted by the countries which are anti to India's interest, like Pakistan, China, etc. Earlier they had been quoting Rahul Gandhi and opposition leaders' statement domestically. And when Rahul Gandhi says India is a dead economy, echoing American president's statements, what does he mean by that? It is the question that instead of TMC leaders questioning Peter Navarro, his ignorance about Brahman word being used it's an Indian word, it's a Hindi word, it's our domestic civilizational word which has a particular connotation. Tomorrow Peter Navarro cannot give another definition. If he is giving another definition, should not be acceptable to India. The thing is, Brahman is a very well respected caste of India, and the thing is under what spirit he is talking. Peter Navarro talking the way he is completely to be denounced, and it is nothing to be justified. It is not a simple word that he is using. He doesn't know the word.
I don't necessarily think that this was a casteist jibe or attack. My own sense is that whoever is advising him when he writes his tweets is somehow completely getting it wrong. This is Peter Navarro's personality. I mean, the guy went to jail for 4 months for contempt of Congress and then came out writing a book saying that and the book's title is, I went to jail so that you won't have to. So the guy is quite a character. I don't care about what he says, and he's been saying all kinds of things against India. But for the TMC to step in and defend and say Boston Brahmins means this and not that, etc., that is uncalled for.
Yes, and we have also...
Please come in here.
Shreya, I see the thing is that some in India and abroad tend to be more Americans than the Americans themselves. That has been the tragedy of this country. So when nobody asks them to come and defend, they will come and defend. Shubhankar ji was asking what gives him the audacity, that Navarro. Let me tell you what's that, why is he doing so? Somebody told them that everything else has failed. They could not make India succumb. They thought India is a soft target. We have not opened our dairy, poultry, fisheries, agriculture market, which protects 15 crore Indians and their livelihood. We have not stopped taking Russian oil, and we have not accepted their, bullying that we have to accept all they want in India, bioengineered products. That's the reason there is desperation. They called India a dead economy. They said we will crush your economy. They said that we are profiting from the oil, and now they bring a Brahmin thing. So let me put it this way. Somebody told them, look, everything else is failing. Let's play a caste card. Let's create fault lines. It might have an impact. It might create problem for Modi Sarkar. That is the issue. Now, that is even if you talk about, I didn't know refineries have a caste. BPCL is one of the biggest procurer of Russian oil. Indian Oil Corporation. Then Naira is owned by Rosneft, which is a Russian organization. Naira is no more SR Oil. And then Ambani's come in. I mean, Ambani's, when they earn money abroad by selling oil abroad, they earn in dollar. That dollar is kept with the Reserve Bank of India that adds to India's foreign exchange reserve. And then in return, they're paid in rupee. That is how the mechanism works. And here are some people, trying to be holier than thou, saying, no, there's a definition of Brahmin. Who cares about that? We are a $4 trillion economy. There is a Navarro, there would always be a Navarro. And the Navarros saying that, instead of questioning that, how dare you say this, there are people here saying, oh, what gives them the audacity? There must be a problem with India's diplomacy. You have a problem with India's, Prime Minister Modi, sort it out politically. But when it comes to the nation, don't denigrate. Because this is the fault line they try to capitalize on. They thought that this will create something. And I am very, very upset about this. Back to you, Shreya.
Okay. Brajesh Kallappa, spokesperson of the Congress, what do you make of Navarro's statement? Do you think this was a deliberate casteist wedge meant to create fault lines in India?
See, Shreya, I don't care about Navarro and I don't care about the present, subject of debate because this honestly doesn't concern the country. I think if there are issues on which the media wants to digress and doesn't want to talk about the fact that the elephant has bowed down to the dragon, and particularly after what has happened in Galwan when 20 of our soldiers were killed, and also when 20,000 kilometers of land has been taken over by the Chinese, and by the fact that after Operation Sindoor, when the tacit understanding between China and Pakistan is visible for all to see, and particularly when even the victims of Pahalgam are still searching for answers, at this time for the Indian Prime Minister to be seen with the Chinese, I think makes for extremely bad optics. But if Navarro is something which the media wants to use to take away from this subject, so be it, because the media has consistently been playing this game for the last 11 years, and you're most welcome to play this game. Point is, Navarro is a non-entity in India.
Brajesh Kallappa ji, 1 minute. You saw my introduction, na? I started with what Navarro has said because it was provocative, right? And after that, I put out what the opposition is saying about Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi and what has happened at the SCO. I even played out sound bites of your leaders, and you are telling me that the media is digressing. How am I digressing, sir? I've put both parts of the story on the screen for our viewers. And the second part of my debate would be what the opposition is saying about Prime Minister Modi hugging Xi Jinping.
No, I'm glad. Then let's come to the second part of the debate. I don't want to participate in the first part. I have nothing to say about Navarro. He's a non-entity as far as India is concerned. We don't care about him.
Okay. And I think you have made your point clear about what your problem is with Prime Minister going to China and not calling out China and Pakistan's Jugalbandi. And that is a fair point. Pratikrit Pan, would you want to come in and defend the Prime Minister's stand at the SCO? Look, it's all very well for us to say that this has been a big diplomatic win. The fact that Pahalgam has been condemned in the joint statement, etc., etc. That's the resolution that the SCO and all its members have adopted. But number one, Pakistan has not been named, very importantly. And number two, has the Prime Minister called out China's doublespeak, given the fact that China itself has admitted that it was supplying live intelligence to Pakistan when Operation Sindoor was ongoing?
So let me put it, Shreya, there was a mention by the Prime Minister that connectivity cannot, go through or undermine sovereignty in that particular statement. There was a mention of the POK and the CPC in that. Number two, and this is the statement he gave when he was in SCO. Secondly, those who are saying that, because of Pahalgam, we should not be doing this. Today, India's military preparedness, ability to deploy in the border infrastructure upgradation, and an ability to go as far as Shanghai and Shenzhen with its ballistic missile is far more than what it was before 2014. And I'm saying it without any political affiliation. Secondly, when it comes to the Operation Sindoor, India has shown that you can give whatever you want to Pakistan. I have enough capability to deal with it. Has India reduced its deployment during in the Indo-China border because of this bonhomie, what we saw today? It was the Chinese who gave the overtures, not India. It was the Chinese who came up and said that, look, we should be partners. It was the Chinese who said, we didn't say that. It was the Chinese who said that the Americans are doing something wrong. And what have we done? For every weapon system that the Chinese have given to the Pakistanis, we have armed Philippines, Vietnam with BrahMos, cruise missiles, which are a terror for the Chinese. So when it comes to this bonhomie, we know how to keep the arm's length distance. There are issues we do not deny. And that doesn't mean that from tomorrow onwards, China will be our defense partner. It doesn't mean from tomorrow onwards, China will be our, partner in critical infrastructure. It only means there are major areas of divergence and status quo. We will not even talk to China about that. We will not bow a single inch. But there are areas of convergence on which we actually go forward when it comes to the issue of unilateral
But China
sanctions.
is also saying that India-China relations should be divorced from the border issue. How can India-China relations be divorced from the border issue?
So that if that is the statement from their side, does it mean that we will be reducing our deployments? If you see in the last 3-4 years, the enormity of the deployment that is there, de-escalation did not lead to demobilization. If you go, you are a very well-known journalist, Shreya. If you go even today in the border regions, the deployment remains as it is. There is not a single inch of demobilization from India's side. Okay. So that's the statement that the Chinese have made. We have not endorsed it. We have not said that we will delineate the border issue from this. But the only thing good, which is good from the time of Galwan, is this. We are today talking from a position of strength. The Chinese realize we are not a pushover. And third, we have told the Chinese, you can do whatever you want. When it comes to territorial integrity, we will do exactly what we have done when it comes to Galwan. Okay. And every time you do something with the Pakistanis, we will give it back.
Rajesh Kalappa, what has happened over the last 3 days is a realignment of our foreign policy. The fact is, in the last 6 months, Trump has turned our world topsy-turvy. Sabse to dushmani nahi kar sakte. I understand what you're saying. There was a 5-year standoff. 20 of our Jawans got killed. China was helping Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. I completely understand and take what you're saying. But it's not like we are becoming best friends, right? But this is a relationship that needs to be stable.
I think it's time that Mr. Modi made a statement on what exactly went wrong with the United States, because we were all led up the garden path as we as Indians believed that when Mr. Modi went and endorsed Mr. Trump in America during the elections, and that was an election which no head of state usually, addresses as far as the American public is concerned. But that happened in India. Mr. Modi went there. He endorsed Mr. Trump during an election. So we were led to believe that there was a special relationship between Mr. Modi and Trump. First of all, I think the people of India deserve to know what went wrong in that relationship. Why are we in a situation where the tariffs have been increased to 50%? What is happening? Why are we in this very sorry state?
No, but we know why we are in this sorry state. We are in this sorry state because we have refused to give in as far as American demands are concerned. We are saying we are not opening up our farm sector. We are saying we don't want your soya bean. We don't want your dairy products. We don't want your non-vegetarian milk. We don't want your corn because our farmers will suffer. So this Russian oil is a bahana. We know exactly what is going on. Why oppose the government just for the sake of opposing? Can the opposition for once when it comes to foreign policy just back the government? And say, okay, you do what needs to be done. We can fight domestically over other things, not over foreign policy.
No, we cannot back. No, we cannot, back the government on all foolish issues, right? So I think as far as the Indian National Congress is concerned, we have a great stake in how this country is run, right? So it's not possible for us to today say, no, it's because of this reason. Is there an official statement on that account? When people speak about what is happening with regard to the oil purchases from Russia, we expect the Modi government to go down the throat and say that, look, this is the issue, and that Russia itself is selling to other people, while America itself is buying from Russia.
Not one time, a million times. That India is not even the largest buyer of Russian oil, that China is the largest buyer of Russian oil. They've also called out the European Union's hypocrisy that buys energy in bulk from Russia. They have also called out the hypocrisy of the United States of America that buys fertilizers from Russia, that buys uranium for its nuclear plants, whose trade has increased with Russia over the last 3-4 months. So all that hypocrisy has been called out. All of that has been spoken about. So are you just opposing for the sake of opposing is the question.
I'm surprised, Shreya, that you're so satisfied that all this has been said. Has Mr. Modi said this? Has Mr. Modi said this to Mr. Trump, who is his best friend? I think this is the question which we must ask ourselves. Mr. Modi should ask these questions.
Well,
it's not
clearly that friendship is over.
In the Foreign Office who asks these questions and then expects an answer.
Mr. Kalappa, clearly that friendship is over. Clearly that friendship is over. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much for joining us. I think you've made your point clear about what the opposition thinks or what has happened at the SCO summit. You have your concerns. There are questions you have. As an opposition, you are entitled to your questions and your concerns. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, thank you very much. Pratigit Payan, thank you. Brijesh Kalappa, thank you. And Shubhankar Bhattacharya was trying to defend the TMC but couldn't really. Thank you very much for joining us as well this evening. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, a break. There's more on the other side.